Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today, we're actually featuring one of our sub segments called WristWatch, Rambles, and Rants. And this episode is brought to you, of course, by the fine people at Wrist Candy Watch Club. We'll get a little bit more into the sponsors, but later on in the video. But why don't we start by kind of covering what this is going to be about? And basically, what we're going to cover is buying watches for your loved ones. And of course, I am a family man, so I figured I would feature my wife's watch, my older son who's in the 6th grade, and my younger son who's in 2nd grade. Their watches. My youngest daughter also has a watch, but it's like a Paw Patrol one, so I didn't think anybody would really be interested in seeing that on the channel. But I figured I would showcase these particular ones. These aren't their only watches that they have, or the only watches that I've bought them, but I think they're actually very good kind of examples of different types of watches for different types of people in your life that maybe you haven't really thought everything through, thought everything out, to give you guys, to spur you with a couple of ideas as far as what you might like. If you are going to buy, let's say, your young son, his first mechanical watch, or maybe just one of your sons or daughter's first watch in general. And then, of course, there's the thought of, man, of course, you always want to buy your wife something really nice as far as the quality goes, but maybe you don't think about that she wants to wind her watch or set it all the time or anything like that. So it's definitely a very interesting topic that I figured I'd share with you guys because I had to navigate through it myself. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look. All right, so as you can see, of course, a big shout out to the segment sponsors, Wrist Candy Watch Club. They're great. If you haven't partaken in their products, here's a little example of some action here. You guys might remember this piece I reviewed a long time ago. Actually, I think was planning to do a giveaway on this when I hit a certain subscriber count. I might just have to do that at some point. I've just been so busy with incoming reviews, but yeah, maybe the 20k mark will get this thing set up. But as you can see, they have this beautiful combination strap here where you're getting this really nice fabric material, almost like a kind of tweed canvas, and then the nice supple leather, and it's also super thin, so it's not going to add any real thickness there when you have it on the wrist, which is really great. Some other options that they carry, of course, is a great Perlon, which is pretty much going to be ultimately adjustable, which is great. And then your basic nylon NATO style strap, which is great. But one thing that they do different is that they actually have, as you can see, the hardware is rounded, so it's almost like a RAF strap, or Zulu, but you're gonna see that it's actually a little bit more refined and a little bit kind of smaller, so you actually almost get a little bit of adjustment out of it when you are folding it on the wrist, which I think is a really great kind of feature set, and it's nice. And the nice thing is, because it's this kind of a smaller hardware, you don't really have to worry as much about it being brushed or polished or matted, because basically any one of the finishes, when it's kind of on this type of median, is going to come out actually looking quite nice. And it doesn't give you a lot of flat surface, so you don't have to necessarily match polished with polished, or polished with brushed, or with something that's been matte blasted. So with that said, another, of course, thank you to of course, Wrist Candy Watch Club for sponsoring the segment, but we'll go ahead and take that out now, and we're going to get into these watches here. So here's my youngest son's watch. This is actually his second iteration of the exact same watch, and he has actually another one that we reviewed on the channel not too long ago that you guys might recall. That's kind of actually a full metal version of this one, a European spec. But this one right here is basically your typical Casio vintage A168WA-1. And it's basically this kind of chrome-plated resin case with a stainless steel bracelet. It has resin glass. And these go for like 20 bucks. And they're super versatile, super useful. obviously the great fun color palette for a young kid, you know, and nice, you know, something great for an 8-year-old. And the nice thing is once you get that dialed in and the fitment, it's pretty much always going to be a go. It's always going to fit perfectly. You don't have to worry about that, and it's going to stay on pretty well. And you guys can see he gets some good wear out of this. You can see that bracelet has been through some things. It's definitely been to the playground and back. But yeah, the nice thing is this is cheap enough and legible enough to where it's going to be really pretty much a workhorse. You can see it has a great little luminescence there, so he can see it in the dark, and it's something obviously fun that he can kind of play with. But yeah, this is just a fun little watch that I think he really enjoys, that I really enjoyed buying for him. I'll let it drape over my wrist a little bit. Of course, it looks fine on my, it looks a little small. I mean, up close it looks okay, but down here you can see it does appear a little small. But honestly, adults wear this watch as well. And I think a lot of that has to do with the great taper on the bracelet and the case, how it comes down. It's just, it's quite elegant, and I think it's a great looking piece, and it's fun, and it's something that I don't have to worry about him destroying, or, you know, somebody trying to steal from him, because it's just a cheap watch. But it's a Casio. It's a real watch. It's not just some, you know, Barney and Friends, or, you know, whatever the more hot kids program is these days. Next is my son, who's in middle school, or junior high as we used to call it. He actually has a really cool, this is his first mechanical watch. He's had some other watches in the past, but this is the BOLDR Supply Company Venture. And after I reviewed the blue model, honestly, I had to buy this one for my son just because I think it's just the perfect watch for him. And there was a lot of watches I was looking at that were actually quite similar, that just didn't offer the same value for money. There was actually one from Marathon that I really liked. Very similar. It's just smaller and had a much smaller lug to lug. Oh, not lug, but not lug to lug, but the smaller lug width. I think it's something like 18 millimeters on a NATO, and it had like this resin case, but the same NH movement. But it was actually like more expensive. You know, and it was kind of a lesser watch. Here you're getting titanium, so it's going to be very comfortable on the skin, you know, non-hypoallergenic and all that, so really nice. And even on my 7¼ wrist, I think this wears pretty well. I think it does appear a little bit small just because of those lugs there that are almost lugless because of the case shape. But the nice thing is it has sapphire, it has a hacking hand windable movement, and it's super legible. It's something, again, and for the price at like under $300, $299, and there's constantly little sales and stuff coming up for get another $10 off. You can get this piece, and it's on a Barton band strap. The nice thing about these is they actually come with like one long version and one short, so this actually fits him just about perfectly. Super comfortable for him. You know, he's a big time soccer player, so he's you know, of course, all about being out and training and fitness and whatnot. So it's nice for him to be able to wear a watch and really have something that's rough and tumble that you don't really have to worry about at all. And again, it's nice because it kind of gives him his first experience with something that's mechanical and then titanium. So it has this cool fun factor, and then it's offering you, of course, the sapphire, and it's 200 meters water resistant. So of course, being a kid, he's going to want to take this into the water, and I have no problem with him doing that. And that's just kind of gives it that fun factor. You know, when you're young and you're excited about the specs of a watch and the things that it can do. And I think it's a really nice pairing, and I think it's actually super versatile. Another watch that I was cross shopping against was actually a smaller Seiko vintage watch. That was really beautiful, old school field watch, smaller diameter as well, a little bit smaller than this. But of course, then I started thinking about it, and it was just like, do I really want to get him a vintage watch? You know, even though I can find a deal on it, they were still pretty expensive, and then I would be kind of worrying about him destroying it. Here, I just have to worry about setting it every once in a while because, of course, he's, if he doesn't wear it or he wears one of his quartz watches or something, this one will eventually die out. But, it's kind of fun, and I think it's great. This is like honestly a great watch for a kid, a boy or girl or whatever, because I think it just has a real kind of rugged quality to it, and that dial is just awesome. I mean, there's so many great field watches, fully, with the full numerals that are out there these days that people just really, really love and gravitate to. And I think this little BOLDR Venture does a great job of, checking a lot of those boxes. Now, here we have my wife's little Seiko Dolce, and if we can get it to focus there, this thing is killer. This is actually the men's size one, so this is the SACM171, and I think this is basically the perfect girlfriend wife watch. I've bought this watch for my wife, and it's by far the watch she's worn the most that I've ever bought her. And I've bought her mechanicals, I've bought her like whatever more fashiony little Burberry watches and stuff like that, but she wears the heck out of this one, and there's a lot of reasons why. And it's not super expensive. You can find them anywhere in between $350 and $450, but you're getting a lot for that money. So it's a 33.5 millimeter diameter. It's only 5.3 millimeters thick. It has drilled lugs. The lug to lug is only 38.9 millimeters, so super short from that standpoint. It's stainless steel and it does have the Dia Shield super hard coating. It does have sapphire, and then it does have even an inner AR coating as well. So you guys can see, you can really get a look at that beautiful pale silver dial that will read as white, at a glance, but man, that thing is absolutely gorgeous. You can see even the Dauphine handset, really glorious, and that movement that's in there is a high accuracy Seiko Quartz 8J41. So this thing's only plus or minus 10 seconds per year, guys, and has a 3-year battery life. So that's pretty good. And you know what? My wife doesn't want to set watches. She doesn't want to do any of that. I've learned that. Of course, I enjoy setting my mechanical watches and whatnot, and winding them and wearing them and time hacking. But that's not for her. She just needs something where she knows what time it is. And the nice thing for me is I only have to set this thing, once a year? Well, maybe twice if you count daylight savings. I'll reset it for her. But this thing is great. It has applied indices. It has that beautiful textured white silvery dial, polished handset. It's only 3, atmospheres of water resistance, so only 30 meters. But I don't think she's taking this thing out for a dip or anything like that. Anyway, it has 17 millimeter lugs, and this does taper on this actual caiman leather strap. So this is actual caiman like alligator leather, which is really cool. So you're getting a lot of high-end qualities. Little fingerprint action. Let me wipe that off camera real quick so you guys can get the full Monty of just how nice this thing is finished. So as you can see, really just gorgeous, and she wears this all the time, and this strap has been wearing really, really well. The funny thing is this is actually the man size, so in some alternate universe, this is something that I would wear in a tuxedo. Maybe up close it doesn't look too small, but it's a small watch. This is smaller than I'm comfortable with, even though it is super thin, which does kind of make it spread a little wider. I assure you this looks much better on her petite wrist. And she loves it. She wears it all the time, and it's one of the few, probably the first watch that I've gotten her that she actually just wears on her own without me constantly reminding her, like, hey, grab your watch, whatnot. So she's not at the level where she's doing wristwatch checks with me or anything like that, and we're like posting up his and hers, Instagram shots or anything. But it's fun to have her kind of, be a little bit a part of my hobby, and to get her a timepiece that really resonates with her, that you know, she gets a lot of wear out of and a lot of enjoyment. And the nice thing is that for me, as kind of, you know, a watch nut, I get a real kick out of her wearing this piece, you know, because it has that high accuracy quartz movement. It's a Seiko. It's such a super clean design. I mean, look at that thing. I mean, sure, it doesn't have lume, but you know, that's what we have cell phones for. It's just a really handsome piece, and obviously it's taken a licking and kept on ticking. Maybe I should polish it up a little bit off camera. Don't mind me. Take a look here. So it's just a solid piece, and I gotta say, like, as far as like something for my wife, I think it was a really great choice, and it's one that I'm really happy that I did pull the trigger on for her, because it's a quality timepiece. And hopefully you guys can see as it comes back into focus, you know, the luster on that polish and that shielded coat. And she does not take it easy on her things. You know, she's a woman, so she dumps this thing in a tray, you know, underneath stuff, on top of other things, metal bracelets and earrings and all that stuff just kind of get dumped on top of this, and it still looks great. I mean, even the kind of art deco buckle there with the fully milled little guy right here, which is a very nice touch. So I think this thing is awesome. I mean, if they had like a bigger, like a more contemporary version, maybe like a 38, maybe even maybe even a 36 or a 37, I might, because of how thin it is, I might be open to wearing it if it had like a 20 millimeter strap on it. But this thing is killer. Look at that. Look at how it hits just every second. Marker is just on the money. Bam, 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 bam. And of course, for those of you that enjoy a good time hack, look at the seconds. Okay, all right. Okay, watch out. Boom. Just for some time hack pleasure for you. Watch it go, watch it go. What's up? What's up? Okay, all right. Bonus round, bonus round. Let's do it. Okay, so actually, this is probably good for a size comparison, right? This is a 42, and then like this fits on there, guys. But let's look at the time hack. Let's enjoy that. Where you at? Okay, all right. There it is. Boom. So, but you can see the whole watch, the case fits essentially within the dial of this watch. Yeah, and I do think a 42 is a bit big for this type of watch, but you know what? There's a lot of oversized watches out there. At least this one has decent proportions. Although the scale is quite large, I think proportionally and design-wise, it's a clean little piece, dude. This thing's super cheap too. If you can still find them, I think I think Choma Shop has like the braceleted version as well, like a blue dial that comes in and out of stock every once in a while. Anyways, guys, yeah, this is kind of my little journey for these guys as far as, you know, buying watches as gifts and trying to share your hobby with people. You know, there's no point in me getting, you know, my son, let's say, some, you know, SKX, right? He's not going to be able to set it or keep it freaking charged, and then so it's like, okay, maybe I get him a modded one. Yeah, not even that. Maybe that Long Island, the little Islander guy, that would be a nice one for him. Maybe that'll be his first diver. But I think these options, of course, real classic, you know, $20. It's hard to beat. It's even looks like something a kid should wear. And then here, a little more intermediate, fun little field watch. Of course, these are in style again. Field watches, I should say, they've made a real resurgence, and you're seeing, you know, everything from Hamilton to just everybody just doing these vintage reissues and even modern takes. I mean, you guys saw not too long ago on my channel, I reviewed, the Oak and Oscar Olmsted, and that is just a take, on the same type of thing as modernizing, the classic field watch. And I mean, geez, that's like a $1,500 watch. Similar specs as far as the size goes anyway, 38 millimeters. But this is titanium, of course, lower beat movement, yeah, much cheaper, of course, much cheaper. But this is 200 meters water resistance, so this is like a good stepping stone, right? This is like a good building block for my son, because he can learn to appreciate this, beat the hell out of it, and it's still wearing pretty well. If you look at his titanium finish on this, the bead blast is still really clean. It's not really beat up at all. The nice thing is, of course, you can just rinse off the silicone strap, and then it has the quick release, although there are drilled lugs, so this is like even easier to take on and off. This is a cool piece. I should steal it from him some days and just rock this thing. And the nice thing is, with the Barton band, you can actually get it with the longer strap. So it comes with two, one with a longer tail and a shorter tail. Shorter tail for him, then it has a quick release, pop that off, and then I can just throw it on here, and then I can rock that thing. So that thing's pretty sweet. And then, yeah, here we go. The Mrs. watch for your lady love. Here you go. This is an impressive piece, and it's also there's even gold ones, similar layout, but basically instead of having, the stainless steel, raw, actually there is a coating on here, but basically instead of it being plated gold, you have this model, which I think is really great. Super versatile. Of course, you can wear it every day. It's never gonna clash, unless it might be a little bit too, I guess maybe could be considered a little bit formal in comparison if she was just gonna wear jeans and a t-shirt kind of deal. But I think this is a great look, and it looks great on her, so it's a lot of fun. So with all that said, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please do hit like, and if you're not, please subscribe for more content just like this. And once again, Wrist Candy Watch Club, check them out, guys. They support the channel, you support the channel, so maybe give them a little bit of support as well. Check them out. All right, thanks.